I hope you're having a fantastic day, and I'd like to welcome you to my channel. Today we're going to be cooking a USDA choice ribeye steak. The cooking method we're going to be doing today is called a reverse sear. And what we'll do is we'll cook it in indirect heat first on a grill, and then we'll flip it over to the flame side so it can sear the meat. Before we even begin cooking this steak, what I like to do is about an hour, 30 minutes to an hour before I start cooking, I like to go ahead and season my meat. I like to use salt, pepper, garlic powder, and a little bit of Worcestershire. And what that does is this allows the salt, and really be heavy on the salt, because whenever you begin your sear, you lose a lot of your seasoning on this steak. That's just something you're not going to be able to avoid, is when you're searing your meat, you're going to burn some of the seasonings off. You season it heavily with black pepper, salt. Make sure you get those sides whenever you're seasoning. And a little bit of garlic powder. What the garlic powder does, adds just a little bit of that oomph, I guess if that's what you like to call it, this steak. Go ahead and give it a little rub so that way all that settles in. Make sure you have a paper towel on standby so you can wipe your hand off. Or if you want to use gloves, a lot of people like to use food gloves. Give it a flip. A little bit more salt. More pepper. Go ahead and season this side. And as you can see, I am making sure that every side is covered. And that is our seasoned steak. And what we're going to do, we're going to let it rest for about, I'd say around 30 minutes. That's about how long. That's long enough for your grill to warm up, so you can go ahead and start your fire, you can get everything ready, and you're good to go. It's ready to cook. I'm also doing pork chops along with this, and what I like to do is use the same method, but I add a little bit of Worcestershire on top, just to let it soak into the meat. Make sure all your meat is out of your juice trays. This is the groove that runs around most cutting boards. It catches all the juices. Doesn't take a lot on each one, and just let it soak. These pork chops, they're going to sit here for a little while and they'll be ready to go. The next thing we're going to be making is a compound butter for after the steak is done, we can baste it in it and let it rest on top. You're going to need a bowl, you're going to need a few cloves of garlic, you're going to need some parsley, and you can use either dry or fresh, preferably fresh, but I haven't been to the store yet. And you're going to need some softened butter. Now when it comes to your garlic cloves, what you want to do is you have to get that skin off of there. The easiest way I found is to take a knife and just pop it down on a counter. And that instantly knocks most of the skin off, and whatever's left, you can just peel it off and it's good to go. I went ahead and done a few of these so that way they're ready to go, but now we're going to cut it up and mince it and try and get it into as small pieces as possible. Means am I a master chef? I really enjoy cooking. It's one of my favorite things to do. I enjoy experimenting with different flavors. And just to see what the outcome is. And it's always interesting when it comes down to cooking, because there is an infinite number of possibilities that you can do. We're going to take this garlic and put it in a bowl. Set it off to the side for right now. We're going to set it off to the side for now. We're going to grab our butter. Now, some people just throw half a stick in there, some people chop it up. Me, I like making squares. It melts better, it mixes better. It makes it a lot easier to manage when you're trying to cook with it, especially on a grill. But now, you can put it inside of your bowl with your garlic. Take you a little bit of the parsley. Doesn't have to be heavy, doesn't have to be light, it's all up to personal preference. I like a little bit of green in my butter, but that's just me. And I also like to add a little bit of garlic powder and just a little bit of pepper, because like I said, when you sear your meat, you're gonna lose a lot of your flavoring, or a lot of your seasoning, I mean. And we'll just take a fork and mash it up. And get it good and mixed. And now that our butter's ready and mixed up really well, we're going to set it off to the side. And we're going to go outside and get our grill fire started. Now we've got our cutting boards all cleaned up. We've got our butter ready to go. Now we're just waiting for them to cook. We've got a second ring of charcoal going. That way when we get ready to sear all this meat, take it off, reapply charcoal, and then it'll increase the heat so that way it sears better. Now that our meat's good and seared, we're going to put on a little bit of the garlic butter. We're going to let it baste. Here is our finished product. Now what I like to do is I like to put a little bit more garlic butter on top of my steak as it rests, so that way the butter just bastes and bastes as it finishes cooking. Now we're gonna let the steak rest for about 10-15 minutes. I've got a few things I've got to go run and do real fast, and when I get back we'll cut it and serve it. Alright guys, we've let the steak rest for about 15 to 20 minutes and we're fixing to cut it. Whenever you go to cut your steak, for a more tender taste, always cut against the grain. And cut with a sharp knife, because if you don't cut with a sharp knife, it's gonna mess up your cuts. It's a little overcooked, but most of it came out great. We're gonna try us a bite here in a minute. I'm gonna let's see how it tastes like. You can definitely taste the beef flavor of this steak with the salt and pepper that brings out those flavors, and it's really good. Well guys, that's our steak for today. I'm going to try to continue to make videos at a semi-regular pace, but I do work a full-time job. But thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate it. And if you like the video, hit the like button and subscribe, and I will see y'all in the next video. Take care.